Everybody, welcome back. So, as usual, I'm not trying to get you to agree with me, I'm just trying to get you to see with me. And today we're seeing about manifestation and if we feel stuck or triggered by the 3D, like if you're doing your process and you're feeling like nothing's changing, how we can better understand the 3D reality, what we see outside of ourselves, because a lot of times we can feel like we're separate from it, and then we go into that doubt or fear that things aren't unfolding just because we're not seeing instantaneous results. Like even if we're affirming for instant manifestation, or just being quick and being able to accept the things that we want as true. So I was just watching some content and I came across these realizations, and I wanted to just share because I know other people are feeling this too. At least since it's my consciousness, I've been seeing other people struggle with that. So I wanted to share the clarity and insights that I found. Okay, everybody. So I just wanted to talk about going back to the basics, because we can spend years and years trying to perfect things, trying to master things, not realizing we're just creating a reality where we're still struggling to get what we want. Instead, it's recognizing that we don't need to learn how to manifest. We're already doing it. It's always happening and it hasn't stopped. It's literally what creates our experience, even built into the negative experiences we might have had, or before we became conscious and self-aware, we were manifesting. We were just having an experience where we weren't aware of our ability to do so. And now we step to a reality where we do take control because it's just what we desire to experience. So it's really about having conscious awareness of the structure of life itself and how we can manifest any experience, any relationship to life that we want. So it's being able to just transform concepts and ideas from non-physical to physical, which is what life is all about. An example for me is that I wanted to manifest friends, right? So I did a little rampage, wrote how I feel, how it feels good to have friends, how I like my friends, the ones that I didn't have. And literally days later, I went to this event and I was able to make two new friends. Now, I had no idea that that was going to unfold in that way, but literally the way that I described it is how it felt when it happened. And I've still hung out with them since then. So, it's something that's growing and blossoming or whatever, whatever. But obviously some people like, oh, that's just, a coincidence or whatever, but at least in the manifestation community and law of assumption, we know what we assume to be true is what will be true. So I assumed that I had new friends, and not short after I did. So for me, that was confirmation that I'm redirecting my energy and that I can have the things that I want and change my self-concept to a person who does naturally make friends. But it's really just going down to your belief systems and your definitions about life, your attitude towards life, your self-concept, who you think you are, and like your whole construct of your personality and who you show up as in society or in your relationships or whatever. Ultimately, all that comes from your state of being, and your state of being will determine how things work out for you. So I thought it was important to kind of bring those things back in our awareness so that we don't get so lost and triggered by the 3D. But I'm going to go to the next slide so we could see a little bit more in depth. Okay, so now I wanted to get back to the idea of what is reality, because before we get into manifestation, we assume that life is just something that happens. We're just existing here, have no power to change anything. But then when you become conscious of manifesting, you recognize that 3D life, reality as we know it, is a reflection of what we believe from within ourselves. So it's inside of our consciousness. But the power of this illusion is that we think that things appear to be happening outside of us, like we're here existing in life, versus the other way around. Like if anybody's a Star Trek fan or has seen any movies where they go on like this holodeck or like the virtual reality, and you put on this character and then you're existing in this world, that's exactly what it is. Like the Matrix, people use that example all the time. We're basically existing in our consciousness, creating this life experience where we get to, go around, live with our family, go to work, have whatever experiences that we choose. And it's so powerful that we believe it's real. And obviously, if we don't know about manifestation, we just take reality at face value for what we see, and based off our feelings and emotions towards things. But obviously, when you step back and learn about consciousness, you start to see you can decide your relationship to anything. It doesn't have to be something bad if you don't want it to be. You can choose to look at things in a more open-minded way, in a more optimistic way, versus being pessimistic and seeing something as a detriment or something that isn't helping you get better. So just the whole idea of reality, it's literally you, like you are reality. So stepping in that mindset will help you become empowered to change it, because if you know that you are reality, you just change yourself from within, and ultimately your perception and your interpretation of things is what changes. Your relationship to things is what changes, not the things themselves. You're kind of stepping into reality where I have this new relationship with this situation, this circumstance, this person, even this concept of myself. I'm a whole entire new person existing in a whole entire new reality where things work out this way for me. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so one of the core beliefs about like the nature of reality that I kind of realized that we have that can limit us is this is real. And what I mean is that we will automatically accept and agree with whatever belief systems that we have. And then because we're filtering life and perceiving life that way, we might not feel capable of seeing outside of that belief system. So when it comes to manifesting, many of us will start giving up or feel like things aren't working because we've accepted the reality that manifestation wasn't even possible. Like we've been living that for however long without manifestation or the awareness of it. And now that we put our awareness on it, we feel, unsure or uncertain that it could even work. And we've accepted that reality, and not realizing that we are perpetuating it and letting it reinforce itself every time that we give up. So just because you don't see physical things happening yet doesn't mean things aren't unfolding in the background. It doesn't mean that the pieces aren't moving in order for your manifestations to come true. The only thing that holds you back is you giving up. You having this idea that what's more real is this doesn't work. Because you haven't accepted that manifestation works, or you haven't told yourself it works long enough or consistently enough, you keep going back into the experience where manifestation doesn't work for you, where that's more real than what you tell yourself. And here's a paradox. The fact that you're still telling yourself that it's not real, you're creating that experience with the same power that you could be creating the experience where things do work out for you. So it's a matter of still being consistent in your affirmations or whatever technique that you have. Tell yourself that manifestation is real. Tell yourself manifestation works for you. Tell yourself whatever you say is real, because we do that so well in the negative, and we have this assumption that negative things are more real than positive things when they're both neutral. They're equal to each other. Or you could even change your assumption and say, what's real? Positive things are more real and more powerful than negative things. And you keep telling yourself that consistently enough without wavering, I guarantee you'll see changes a lot faster than you think you would. So, like I was saying, this whole idea that this is what's real, obviously, like I said, if you're reacting, you're feeling bad about choosing to have a different experience, just know you're choosing that negative belief as being more real than what you tell yourself. And like I said, they're both neutral. So it's not a matter of feeling bad or anything like that. You don't have to feel any kind of way to know that it's working. You just keep telling yourself it's working no matter what. And once you break through that threshold where it no longer feels negative to choose something different, it's more like an instantaneous choice that you can pick, the same way you change your clothes every day. Okay, I choose to be happy. It's that simple. Instantaneously, you don't have to fight or struggle or assume there's a struggle or assume there's something wrong just because you feel a certain way. You can still be predominantly happy and have some bad days or have certain things happen to you that might seem unfavorable, but because you're dominantly happy, you don't let that get you down or determine who you are. But basically, you just telling yourself that this is real in order to have that experience. So whether that's a boyfriend or girlfriend, whether that's money, whether that's you living your dream life, having a successful business, having a new home, whatever manifestation that you want, you replace that with um, with the negative experience by telling yourself, this is real, this is my experience, this is the way that life works for me now. You convince yourself by continually telling yourself the same way that you persist in negative things and assumptions, but now you're just redirecting your focus. It's not even about being disciplined. It's just if you don't like what you're experiencing, you have to make a choice, because at the end of the day, you're always choosing something. When you give up, when you feel doubt or fear, you're choosing to have the negative experiences. When you're telling yourself that this thing is more real than me saying what I want, you're choosing to be disempowered. Even if it feels like you don't have a choice, you do. But you have to care enough about how you feel to shift your focus no matter what. When you no longer see your emotions as an obstacle and assume that they're getting in your way, it becomes a lot easier to have the experiences you want. So I'm just going to wrap up here. And when I say you're choosing something, I know in the moment it doesn't feel like a choice, but what I mean is you can't focus on being sad and happy at the same time. So if you're in a negative state of mind or state of being, as soon as you're directing your attention, your energy towards that, it means you're choosing that. Your focus and attention is your power. So if you're not affirming to be in a happier state or whatever technique you use to manifest, if you're not choosing to place your attention on more positive ways of looking at things, you're choosing by your attention and your focus to keep perpetuating the negative experiences. So obviously I know that nobody's going to want to choose negative things, but once you understand the construct of reality, how beliefs work and how they reinforce themselves, and how your perception and assumptions is what's being reflected to you externally in the 3D, then you know, okay, I'm choosing to place my consciousness in this state where I perceive things this way, and this is how things are coming back to me. So ultimately, choosing your state of being, focusing your consciousness in a more productive way, in a more positive way, will give you more positive outcomes. So hopefully this helps somebody, because I know it helped me. And now I'm just going to see how this shift really helped me, unleash certain manifestations. And I'm just going to keep being intentional about it. But just realize you're in control. You don't have to be afraid. Just believe in yourself.